Welcome, Gator Artist. I'm so excited to create with you today. We're going to make a frog painting where we use either an oil pastel or a crayon to trace our lines so that our colors don't get mixed together on accident when we start adding the paint. First, let's talk about what supplies you need. You're going to need a white piece of paper, a pencil with an eraser, or a pencil and an eraser, whichever one you have at home, some kind of paint, water, and a brush, and either a black oil pastel or a black crayon. It doesn't matter which one, both will work. Pause the video while you gather your supplies. We're going to start by drawing our frog. Now, my frog in my picture is a little grumpy. You can make your frog grumpy too, or you can make him happy. You'll get to that part in a minute. Don't think that it has to be grouchy because my sample was grouchy. We're going to start in the very middle of your paper, and you want to start by drawing lightly. Don't press down hard with your pencil. You want to make an oval for the frog's head right in the middle. And you want to draw it light because there's going to be part of it that you're going to erase. So I'm just kind of sketching my frog's head here. Then when you draw the eyes, you want them to be on top of that line. Like this. This is why the eraser was important, because you need to erase this part showing through right here. Now I'm going to switch and do my drawing with my oil pastel so that you don't have to watch me trace it all when I'm done. When you're finished drawing with your pencil, you're going to trace all of your lines with your oil pastel, just like I'm doing right now. But you're going to trace your whole drawing. Now you want to make sure that your crayon and your oil pastel are dark and smooth. You don't want gaps in your lines. Let's finish the eyes first. You can keep your frog silly and just put your circle, or you can make your frog sleepy or grumpy and give it a little eyelid that's drooping down by drawing a line across. Since this frog is pretty grumpy already, I'm going to make my new frog happy. So I'm going to put a nice circle that I color in inside so he's got big wide eyes. And when I make my mouth on my frog, I'm going to curve it a little so that he looks a little happy. And then I can give him his little nose, which is just 2 little dots. Be careful not to let your hand rub on your lines if you're using an oil pastel, because it'll smear on your paper. Now I can start my frog's body. I'm going to come down just a little on each side. And at the bottom I'm going to put his hands. Wiggly little frog fingers. They'd be slimy too. And then I can draw his belly across. For his back legs, you're going to go up, then back, down, and put a bump at the bottom to make the foot. Do that on both sides. Go up, down, and put a bump to make the foot. To make it look like those back legs are bending, you add a straight line right in the middle. And you want to put some spots on your frog so you have some places to add other colors. Don't make them too small though. You want to be able to paint inside of them later. So I'm going to give my frog some speckles. Kind of like that 5 Little Speckled Frogs song. I'm even going to put a couple on his legs. Okay. Now let's put our frog on a lily pad by just going from our frog and making a curve down. If you touch the bottom, that's okay. If you have room, you can just curve all the way around. I touched the bottom, so I'm going to start back on this side and curve down until I touch again. So I didn't quite have room. I could draw my line here, but I don't think I need it. I think it looks just fine going off the page. And our lily pad is sitting on some water. So I'm going to draw what's called the horizon line. The line where it looks like the sky and the ground touch each other. If you've seen Moana, she sings a lot about it. The line where the sky meets the sea, it calls her. We're going to draw a line right here and then hop over our frog and finish our line on the other side. So we now have a frog, a lily pad, and some water. Next we need to decide if it's daytime or nighttime. If it's daytime, your sun might have some clouds around it. If it's nighttime, you might draw stars. I'm going to make it nighttime because my frog's going to come out at night to get all the bugs that are buzzing around. So I'm going to draw a nice big moon. And moons can be round, especially when it's a full moon. I'm going to draw a nice big moon peeking out behind my frog. And then I can add some stars. Your stars do not need to be perfect star shapes. When you look up at the sky at night, you don't see the shape of a star, you see little dots. And sometimes you might see little spikes of light coming off of them. But you don't see the shape that we call a star. If you want to put some stars, you can. But don't worry about making them perfect. Instead, make sure they're nice and big so that you have room to paint around and inside them later. So I could put some nice big stars. And then, after I get my stars, I'm going to add some circles too. Because when we look up, we actually see little dots in the sky. Because the stars are so far away. Alright, so now my frog is drawn, so I'm going to put my oil pastel away. And I'm going to make room for my paint. Now the nice thing about oil pastels and black crayons, the wax and the oil that makes up those supplies resists the water in the watercolor paint. So if you are very careful when you put your paint on your paper, it won't cross your lines. It'll stay right where you wanted it. So I'm going to use this nice blue here and show you with my water. If I go really carefully, my paint is going to stay just inside those lines. It's not going to cross over or leak onto the other side. So I can take my time when I'm painting and fill in my space without having to worry about it. Now if you're not careful and your brush touches up against that oil pastel or you go across it, you're going to notice little flecks of the oil pastel or the crayon. It works the same if you're using a crayon. They might get stuck to your brush, and then when you put your brush back in the water, those little flakes are going to float in your water. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just bits of crayon and oil pastel. So don't be surprised. They'll go right down the drain when you dump your water out. Now when you're painting, make sure you clean your brush really good between your colors so you don't get your colors all mixed up. And keep your brush wet so that your paint goes on smooth. If your brush starts to look scratchy while you're painting, it means you need more water. Take your time and enjoy the process. Don't stress out about, I don't have the right colors. There are no right colors. I think this frog is a special frog. I think this frog is pink. So I'm going to use my pink. It might look kind of purple on the screen because I got a little bit of blue on it on accident. Make my frog pink today. So your frog can be whatever color you want. Take your time, enjoy what you're doing, and when you're finished, make sure you snap a picture and send it to me on Canvas so I can put in your grade. Have a great Gator Day. I can't wait to see what you create.